Hey everybody, Derek Sheridan, RUSTBELT Basketball Coaches Network. I'd like to ask anybody who is part of our network here who is a prayer warrior. Please keep my father, Michael Sheridan, in your prayers. My father suffered a mini stroke a couple days ago. He is back home resting. He doesn't seem like he has any loss of strength. Or is showing signs of a stroke, which is obviously all good. But if you could keep him in your prayers, you know how these things go. When you talk about strokes or heart attacks, those things, those are all huge animals. So if you could keep Michael Sheridan and Clan Sheridan in your prayers, we would be most grateful. Tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio 100.7, I will be on at 9:30 a.m. to discuss the products and services that RUSTBELT Basketball Coaches Network offer. So I'm excited about this. It's been a few years since I've been on the radio, since I was in coaching. But give me a shout or an email or a direct message, whatever, and let me know how you think I did on the radio. Eastern Greentown High School's golf outing will be coming up on July 29th. And the reason I bring that up is with the golf outing coming up, I've been able to talk to some of my old teammates from Eastern Greentown a little bit more than normally. I normally do. But anyway, leadership is a huge topic right now, whether it's corporate America or the education or athletic world. Leadership is a topic that people are starving for. And we were lucky, extremely fortunate at Eastern to have the coaches we had. But Mr. Johnston was one of our shop teachers. It was one of the best teachers I ever had at any level of education I pursued. And Mr. Johnston was a physical specimen, an absolute stud. He was a football player and a pole vaulter at Purdue University, and he was actually an Olympian pole vaulter for his country. But Mr. Johnston, while at Eastern Greentown for the short time he was there, was the JV basketball coach, offensive coordinator for the football team, and was the pole vaulting coach for the track team. And he produced several state qualifiers and a couple state champions from pole vaulting. So he was he is a special man, great coach, great teacher. But here are some things that we talk about a lot when we reminisce about Mr. Johnston or Coach Johnston. Coach Johnston was a fierce competitor. His blood was always boiling. He was a go-getter, a type A personality, and had the unique ability to communicate all of those things to high school aged young men. So here are some things I took, and again, this is going back to the topic of leadership. Some of the things I stole, or we stole from Mr. Johnston. Number one, make competition your ally. Lean on competition, become the most competitive person in your circle, but make competition your ally. The quality of your work. The quality of your work is a direct reflection of you. One thing amongst many things we stole from Mr. Johnston was there are never, ever any circumstances or excuses for not doing your best. Whether it's practice, whether it's your job, whatever, you show up and you bring your A game every day. No excuses. Do such a good job at whatever you do, whatever you're doing. Be so good at it, work so hard at it that you make the people who you are in competition or the companies you're in competition look bad. We all took that from him. And he told us a story one time about he and his buddy Jimmy Stack, who were working just as teenage boys, and a family had hired them to do some landscaping work for them. And they were getting after it. I mean, they were busting their cans and getting after it. And in the adjacent yard, a gentleman approached them and asked what their names were. And one thing led to another. He was so impressed by their capacity for hard work that he hired them on the spot, and they ended up having a great high school career working for this gentleman in the summers, and made a lot of money for him, and they put a lot of money in their pockets too. But he looked over and saw them working and was so impressed. And this was back before people, high school kids were making $15-16 working fast food. So, I think it was a lot harder to make a few bucks back then compared to what it is now. Don't ask for money from anybody. Never. Ask what you can do to get what you want. Ask them what they need. What can you do to earn what you need? And I think that's good advice for anybody. And going back to my father, I've been able to spend a lot of time with him over the last few days. And for those of you who don't know, my father was a longtime public school teacher, darn near 40 years, and also was a football coach, a baseball coach, and a junior high golf coach, which is either going to be a really good gig or real bad. But anyway, and Dad also ran the weight room in the winters. Anyway, my father classified people in 3 categories: us, friend, or them. So the us's are the people who you are tight with in your circle, the people who you really care about, you deeply care about. An us is a person who, if you're sick, they're going to come over and help take care of you. They're going to be the people who mow your lawn or do your weed eating or whatever, water your plants, whatever it may be. They're the people who are going to help take care of your family if you're incapacitated for whatever reason. So these are people who are very close and have a lot of pride. It's very important to them, or your friendship, their friendship is very important to them. And probably like me, a lot of us don't have a lot of people who are in the us or us's category. Your friends, everybody's got friends, your buddies, your pals, the guys you hang out with, whatever. Are they going to be over to your house or visit you in the hospital if you're sick? It's a toss of the coin, roll the dice. I don't know. They don't know. They're your friends. Are they people you can ask if you really need something, if you need help doing something that's not fun? For example, moving or something that's nobody finds enjoyment in. Again, it's a coin toss. It's a roll of the dice. Now, in us, the only way they're not going to be there for you is if they've already made plans to do something important, or they're sick or injured, whatever. But your us's are your go-to guys or your go-to gals. They are just as concerned with your well-being as you are with theirs. And then the last category are the thems. The thems are the hangers-on. They kind of want to be your friend. They're around every now and then. They can be fun. And I'm not saying any the friends or the thems are bad people. That's not my point. But again, we're talking about leadership. The thems are people who might tell you something, and in your mind you're thinking, yeah, well, we'll see. I call them willies. Will he be there? Will he not be there? Will he do it? Will he not do it? But they're just words. They are words put out in the atmosphere, and that's all they are. If they show up, fine. If they don't show up, well, you knew they probably weren't going to anyway. So here's the thing with the people who are us's. I think it absolutely terrifies them to be in a category with the thems. Are thems trustworthy? I don't know, probably a little bit, but are you going to ask them to do something? No, not really. Stephanie and I waited around a couple hours. A couple weeks ago, we had something planned, and someone asked, well, hey, do you mind if I join you and get a ride? I'd like to go watch. Sure. And Stephanie said, if so-and-so's not here on time, we're out of here, because they're not very reliable. And she was right. and we didn't feel one bit about it. They didn't show up. They never respond to text messages. They're terrible communicators for the most part. Now in us, you talk to them, you text them, you call them, whatever, they're going to get back with you. Yes, no. They very rarely use the words should or maybe. Anyone who is raised in a nuclear home knows that the word maybe is darn near synonymous with no. So anyway, so in leadership, I think our best leaders are really good at putting people in categories or categorically in how to best motivate them. I was not good at motivating them when I coached. As a matter of fact, I really struggled with them. But I think our best leaders are really good at taking all different types of, whether it's an us, a friend, or a them, or a Willie, or whatever the terminology is, and putting them in scenarios where they can be successful. So moving along here, you see Bryce Gillen on the screen. Bryce has just started Best Case Odd Jobs LLC. Bryce is part of the Iron Five that had so much success last year for Matt Brighton's Delta Panthers. And Bryce has no idea I'm doing this, so I don't want anyone to think I'm getting anything out of it other than Bryce for me is an us. He is. I care deeply for Bryce. Bryce played for me when I was the head coach at Delta, his freshman and sophomore years. And I had a great experience being able to coach Bryce, as I did with all those kids who were in the Iron Five. So I'd like to see Bryce be successful. So here's the deal with Bryce. If you call Bryce and you need him to do something, he's going to do it to the best of his abilities. He's not going to lollygag around or not get back with you. He's going to be a great communicator, and he's going to work his tail off for you. And it's important for Bryce to do a good job. He was raised that way. He comes from a great family, outstanding family, where he was taught values and where Bryce was taught the importance of having a high capacity for hard work or work ethic. So if you're in Northwest Ohio and you need things done, take it from me, you can trust Bryce Gillen. His number's there, his business number and his business Gmail address. This is a kid you can trust. I have no reservations in saying that. As a matter of fact, my wife is already working on a list for him for our new house. As some of you know, we moved to Bowling Green, Ohio from Toledo. And the house we bought was in rough shape. The landscaping the brush was growing up so much we couldn't see out of the windows, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, we had contractors or landscapers come out and take a look, give us estimates, and then we never heard back from them, which the way I was raised is unacceptable. It's cowardice, it's being low rent, whatever term you want to use, but not getting back with someone's unacceptable. Bryce won't do that. He'll get back with you. And he's going to be a good communicator. That's how he was raised. So again, if you're Northwest Ohio and you need something done that you don't want to do, or if you're like me, you're not able to do it anymore, call Bryce Gillen. He'll take care of you. He's going to charge you a fair price, and he's going to exceed your expectations for the jobs that you need him to do. The question we fielded this week was actually in person. WardO and I, Brian Ward, one of my most loyal assistants for a lot of years, took me to play golf a couple days ago. I've been cleared to play golf, which is not good for the local golf courses, but it's good for me to get out and get some steps in and burn some of these fat cells that I've packed on. Anyway, after WardO and I finished our round, we ran into a young coach who coaches here in Northwest Ohio, and he knows WardO fairly well. And he came over and sat with us after our post-round, during our post-round extravaganza. And he asked, why did we always utilize mover blocker offense and our 2-3 zone defense? And the answer for that is the blocker mover offense made sense to me. I could teach it. I have a thorough understanding of how the nuts and bolts of all those things work, and I was comfortable with it. I think it's a great offense for high school kids. I think it's a great offense for a lot of reasons, but you can adjust that to how you see fit. We could change our alignments weekly based upon who we were scheduled to play, but still teaching the same principles, same terminology, everything. The only thing that was basically changing was our alignments. We could spread out more against a team that might be big and a little bit slower. And then if we had a team who we really wanted to go after on the blocks, we could use triangle or inverted triangle or baseline, whatever. So the alignments we used were lane, wide, triangle, inverted triangle, baseline, and pairs. And if anybody would like to learn more about those things, just send me an email or direct message me, and I'll put a little video together for you. I think that's it, folks. Hey, I appreciate your attention. And again, if you could keep my dad, Michael Sheridan, in your prayers, it would be, my family and I would appreciate that so much. We are very concerned about him, and we could really use anyone's prayers. Additionally, if you're involved in a church or in a men's group or a ladies group or a Bible study where you have a prayer list, if you could add Michael Sheridan, Sheridan, to those prayer lists, and again, he had a mini stroke. If you could add him to those lists, if we could get as many people praying for him as possible, we would be ecstatic. So, hey, thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. And again, if you're free in the morning, listen to me ramble on about Rust Belt Basketball Coaches Network and critique how well I did or didn't do. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I coached for a long enough time. I'm not sure I still have feelings, but you're not going to hurt my feelings. Anyway, hey, thank you. Have a great weekend. God bless.